Hey guys, as you can see here, hopefully, I've got quite a few tomatoes ripening now. When you look on the internet, there's so many complicated things that you can do. So you can can tomatoes, and that's like blanching them, putting them in boiling water, peeling the skin, coring them, potentially removing the seeds, and then like canning them. There's, when you take them out of the hot water, you put them in ice water to stop the cooking process. Peel them. You could can them. There's freezing and all that sort of thing. But to be honest, I'm pretty lazy. I didn't want to do any of that. So what I decided to do is just make a fresh pasta sauce. I cored them. I just with a knife just cut out the core around the core, cut them up. I'll show you. And I I ended up draining. There's a fair amount of liquid in these tomatoes, so I'm going to keep the liquid, but I drained out some of it, and then I boil it in a frying pan, like in a skillet. Boil off some of the liquid to thicken it up, and I use chopped veggies, onions, garlic, and all that. So I'll show you guys that. There's lots of different ways to deal with extra tomatoes, but I just didn't want to freeze them or can them or get into any of that stuff. Okay, so here I'm just cutting up tomatoes. You can use, 6 or 7 or 8 tomatoes. And I blended them up. If you have a food processor, you can use that. I don't blend them 100%. I like to have them chunky. You don't have to blend them either. You can just throw them in the pot. And so here I've drained some of the liquid, and I'll use the liquid later if I need to add some more liquid to the. So here I fry up some garlic, onion, green pepper, kale. You can use whatever you like. And then I dump in the tomatoes. You can see there's not a lot there, so it's just kind of enough for one serving, like one meal. But so you definitely want to use more tomatoes if you can. And here I added a little more liquid from the juice, and I kept the rest of the juice for like a veggie stock if you're making soup or something. And so here it is thickening up. I keep it on high, right, to boil off a lot of the liquid. And here's the final product with the fettuccine. It's so tasty, guys. Hey guys. I just had a plate or so of the pasta that I showed you guys, and I made my own sauce, as I mentioned, and it was so good. I don't know if I can go back to eating, using the canned crushed tomatoes anymore. One thing that I like about stuff that I've come up with is that I try is that, I don't want to make things complicated. Like so many things with the tomatoes, you gotta blanch them with boiling water, peel the skin, core them, take the seeds out. People can tomatoes, and I just didn't want to do that. So all I did was I cut up the tomatoes. I cored I took the little core out with a knife, and I basically cut them up. I blended them a bit in a blender. If you have a food processor, that might work better. But you don't even have to do that. You can just chop them small. They'll kind of break down when you cook them, but and I noticed that the tomatoes I was using had were a bit liquidy. So depends on what tomato. If you use Romas, are probably better, more flesh. But so what I did is I strained them and I drained out some of the liquid. And then if I needed to, I could add the liquid back in. And I put the tomatoes in a skillet, and I kind of boiled off the water to thicken it up. And I didn't end up adding any of the liquid back in, but I've kept the tomato juice, for like a veggie stock if you're going to make a soup or something like that. And so it'll depend on the tomatoes, and there's no amounts or anything like that. And in my case, I fried up garlic, onions, green pepper, threw in some dinosaur kale that I chopped up. So that's the way I get my greens in right now. So hopefully you guys like that. It's a really simple, and it's so fresh and tasty. Obviously, I use my own garden tomatoes if you go to the store and want to just buy tomatoes from the store. But normally, if you're in a pinch, crushed tomatoes is what I use, because there's no oil or anything like that, sugar and all that stuff that people, that you get in those jarred pasta sauces. So, yeah, I'm super happy right now. My belly's happy and full, and it was so tasty that I'm just kind of spinning right now, because comparing that to what I normally eat, which is great too. I really enjoy it, but I could really taste the tomatoes, and the garlic is really. And I think a lot of times when people cook sauces, they do it for a long period of time. They'll boil a big pot and really cook it, and the flavors will come out. So I've seen people on YouTube roast tomatoes as well, but they kind of poured olive oil all over it. But things like that that'll bring out the flavor, roasting things slowly. Um, but yeah, so if you have some extra tomatoes in your garden or just from buying them, um, it's a great way to throw them in a pasta sauce. All right, guys, talk to you later.